Diddy, Sean Combs, has been taken to solitary confinement in prison, according to a source with knowledge of what happened. It comes after a fight with another inmate at Fort Dix in New Jersey, where he's being held. Combs is not set for release until February of 2028.
But these pedophiles had resources. They bought an island, and they took children there.
The new report out today chronicles Diddy's rise to power in the business world, detailing how he was able to cozy up with the rich and powerful and expand his influence beyond the music industry, ingratiating himself with billionaires, a tactic that's being compared to Jeffrey Epstein's ascent.
Between Diddy and Epstein, it's good. There's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should say, I think you voted for Biden.
I'd like to see a matchup of those, we call it the top 100 puppet masters on the Epstein client list.
Diddy has just been placed in solitary confinement, and now DL Hughley is speaking up about what many people have already been thinking. This man is not getting out of prison alive. And it's easy to understand why. Diddy knows too many secrets, has too many powerful connections, and holds too much damaging information on people who would rather see him 6 feet underground than back inside another courtroom. DL actually warned about this long before Diddy was taken into custody. He said Diddy was only a pawn in a much larger game, and that people with far greater power and influence helped make his alleged crimes possible. And the very last thing those people want is for Diddy to walk free and start revealing everything. So let's take a closer look at what happened behind bars, what DL revealed, and who might be determined to make sure Diddy never gets the opportunity to talk.
Hey, will he cooperate? That motherfucker gonna be squealing on everybody. Yo, Kev, yo, he not built to do no time. He not built to be in situations like that.
All right, let's begin with what reportedly just happened to Diddy behind bars. Diddy is currently serving a 50-month federal sentence at FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey, which, by the way, is considered a low-security prison. He was reportedly assigned there so he could take part in a treatment program for substance addiction, and his projected release date is February 2028. But being in a low-security facility also means Diddy isn't given any special privileges or protective custody simply because he's a celebrity. The same housing rules apply to every inmate in the unit, and Diddy is not guaranteed a private cell. Now, some sources are claiming he was placed there intentionally to set him up and make sure he never walks out in 2028. Here's what reportedly happened. Diddy was recently involved in a fight with another inmate and was later placed in solitary confinement. The other inmate allegedly made a remark that Diddy didn't appreciate. We still don't know exactly what was said, but Diddy reportedly snapped and rushed the man. According to sources, the situation escalated quickly, with both inmates exchanging punches. Prison staff stepped in to separate them, and Diddy was taken to the hole. The Federal Bureau of Prisons, however, declined to comment. A spokesperson released a brief statement saying the agency does not discuss conditions of confinement, disciplinary actions, or any other information regarding individual inmates because of privacy, safety, and security concerns. But here's what has been reported. Any disciplinary action like this could impact Diddy's good conduct credits, which means his release date could be delayed. And according to DL Hughley, that's only part of the story. He believes this fight wasn't just a random incident. Instead, it appears someone may have been trying to provoke Diddy and set him up to make sure he never gets the chance to speak. DL's main argument is that Diddy knows too many secrets, and the powerful people who backed him have no intention of letting him start talking.
These things can only happen with accomplices. These things can only happen with people who are willing to aid and abet as long as there's something in it for them. They're willing to look the other way or pretend like it didn't happen or shock me at all. But the truth of the matter, there are a great many people who knew what was going on. A great many people.
Because here's the thing about the allegations surrounding Diddy. The claim is that he wasn't doing it only for his own twisted gratification. There's a reason, according to the allegations, that hidden cameras were reportedly placed throughout his mansion, inside his recording studio, and even aboard his private jet. And there's also a reason those recordings were allegedly kept. But Diddy wasn't supposedly filming only other rappers or random guests at his parties. There were allegedly some extremely powerful people attending those alleged freak-off sessions. We already know Andre Harrell was one of the first people to support Diddy and help him launch Bad Boy. And while he's gone, he certainly wasn't the only influential figure who allegedly backed and financed Diddy's empire. Diddy also maintained close business relationships with other billionaires, including Lucian Grange, Ron Burkle, Ray Dalio, Mark Benioff, William Lauder, and Mark Cuban. There are reportedly many powerful individuals whose names never surfaced during the trial, but are now allegedly worried that Diddy could expose them. The theory being pushed is that Diddy allegedly operated much like Jeffrey Epstein, except within the hip-hop industry. And everyone remembers what happened to Jeffrey before he ever had the chance to reveal what he knew. Here's journalist Ian Carroll speaking about that.
Diddy's operation looks like to me is another blackmail ring that there are bosses above him that are getting protected, and those bosses above him work for an international crime organization, because that's just how the blackmail world is. Like, he's not the dude in charge of this thing.
No, he's a low-level guy probably.
Yeah, and he was groomed into his position, clearly, by Davis, right? Andre Harrell, Lucian Grange nowadays, but
I believe they're all of the same.
Yeah, Davis has clearly got mob ties. He was deeply involved in the payola scandals.
What was the payola scandal?
Payola scandals is when they were paying radio stations to play music. Columbia Records got investigated for this. When Columbia Records was getting investigated because it's illegal to pay radio stations for content that's not announced. Like, you can pay for an ad, but you can't pay a radio station to play Rihanna without saying.
I know they do
that.
I didn't know they weren't allowed to do
That's
that.
how they construct all their top hits. That's how they
they
get all these, like, you know, all this music to be so fucking degenerate.
Look at the rap music they pushed.
Exactly. They got to fill their prisons somehow. And payola, Clive was investigated for payola, and then he stepped down from his position at Columbia Records right when they started getting investigated, and they just like rode off into the sunset.
So yeah, he's gone. But like I said, he wasn't the only person with questionable business connections to Diddy. Take Ron Burkle, for example. He's often described as a direct link between Diddy and Jeffrey. Burkle made major investments in Diddy's businesses, including a reported $100 million investment in Sean John back in 2003. Diddy publicly referred to Burkle as a mentor who believed in investing in people, not just companies. He even said Burkle never left his side during his criminal case in 1999. On top of that, Diddy actually chose Burkle to be the godfather of his children. Meanwhile, Ron Burkle's name reportedly appears in Jeffrey's infamous Little Black Book, and he's also listed on the flight logs. This is exactly what DL Hughley is talking about when he says Diddy is only a small fish in a much larger pond. That doesn't mean Diddy is innocent or falsely accused, but it does suggest he's being treated as the fall guy while bigger players stay out of the spotlight. And all of those influential people who stood beside Diddy, financed his parties, and supported him through his previous legal problems aren't rushing to help him now. If anything, they're probably hoping he carries every one of those secrets to the grave. I mean, even Jay-Z publicly denied having a friendship with Diddy. After Diddy's arrest, Jay had his attorney Alex Spiro, who by the way, has also been mentioned in discussions surrounding the Jeffrey files, release a statement saying there was never a close friendship or long-term relationship between Jay and Diddy. Just think about how concerned Jay must have been to make that move. He knows there are plenty of photos, videos, and public moments showing that he and Diddy were friends for decades. And they weren't just casual acquaintances either. Diddy literally called Jay family and said he was the first person he turned to whenever he was in trouble.
Hey, yo, check this out. Hey, yo, Hov, man. Hey, yo, Hov is doing a lot of things, man. Most importantly, you know, he had a recital that he has to be at the Blue. But I reached out to him, and I told him that this right here was important. Bad Boy's celebrating 20 years of hits. And this is extended family. You've been there with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. This is my strategist right here. This is my brother. This B.I.G.'s brother. Yes, sir. This Brooklyn's own Brooklyn!
Did you notice that part about Blue? Jay reportedly skipped his own daughter's recital so he could perform alongside Diddy. But now he's publicly saying there was never a friendship or any long-term connection between them. That shows just how badly he wants to separate himself from Diddy at all costs. And DL Hughley spoke about this situation as well. He pointed out that even though Jay is publicly denying any involvement or wrongdoing, Diddy did the exact same thing. He denied everything for years until that hotel surveillance footage eventually came out and changed the entire story.
I think Jay-Z's tone was exactly, but see, I saw Puffy say the same and then a video came out.
Yeah.
So, who's to say there isn't more footage like this still out there? Not only involving Diddy or even Jay-Z, but possibly other influential people who worked with Diddy and stayed connected to him for years. And now the biggest question is whether Diddy's story ends with him serving time behind bars, or whether more names and details come out before his sentence is finished. Because according to DL Hughley, Diddy could be holding information that has the potential to expose many powerful individuals. And you can imagine those people would do whatever they could to protect themselves and hide their involvement. But what do you think? Is Diddy simply the fall guy for a much larger operation? Will Diddy actually be released in 2028? Or do you believe someone will try to set him up and make sure he never gets the chance to speak? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.